Thanks, Kriya. Now, potential jurors were asked if they could be impartial and if they could handle seeing graphic photos during this trial.
The answers to questions like how lawyers and judges actually chose the jury. WMUR legal expert Mark Stephen is in the newsroom now. Mark, good to see you. First question, a couple of jurors said they could not assume that Spader was actually innocent at the start of all this, but they were still seated. Why is that?
That depends on the way that they answered some questions when they were up in their individual conferences with the judge. You know, sometimes a juror can be sort of rehabilitated when it's explained to them exactly what their duty is. And that's likely what happened here. There's got to be a reason why the defense didn't use one of their peremptory strikes against these jurors if they had displayed some kind of bias like that. So there's probably a good reason for it. And it may be the way that they answered the individual questions.
So, Mark, most of the jurors are in their 40s or their 50s, the youngest in his 20s. Is this unusual at all?
No, not really. You have to think about where the jurors come from. They come from a blended list of motor vehicle records and voter registration records, and registered voters tend to be a little bit older. Young people tend not to register with the same rate of frequency as older people do. So I don't think that's terribly unusual that a lot of the jurors would be in their 40s or 50s.
Mark, quickly, the defense did something rather interesting and started asking potential jurors what they would think if they actually presented no witnesses of their own. If that is the case, how do they plan on defending Spader?
That may not be their strategy. It may be that they wanted to find jurors that would not start out the trial presuming that the defense had a burden. The defendant has no burden, and that's a great question to ask because it's not a jump ball. The defendant and the state don't start out the trial on equal footing. The burden's entirely on the state. So I think that was a good question. They may well have witnesses to present. They just want to know what the jury would think if they didn't present any, and can they hold to that presumption of innocence and hold to the notion and the legal premise that the defense has no burden and the burden's entirely on the state. I think it was a great question.
All right, thanks very much, Mark. WMUR.
Thank you.
Legal expert Mark Stephen joining us from the newsroom. We do want to tell you, though, our extensive coverage of the Spader trial and the Mont Vernon murder continues on our website. You can log on at WMUR.com for a case timeline, the witness lists, and background information on the suspects as well as the victims. We'll also bring you a live stream and live updates from inside the courtroom when testimony begins.